So if you're trying to lose body fat, but you're stuck because the scales aren't moving and your body is not changing, then these 2 tips might just be the solution for you. You're tracking your calories, you're smashing your gym sessions, but the scale just hasn't moved in weeks and you don't know why. This is something that happens quite a bit. And when I spot it with my clients, there are 2 changes that I usually make to help them get back on track and get them progressing again. So in this video, I'm gonna break down exactly what these things are so you can finally get that body fat moving in the right direction again. And also, as a bonus, I'm gonna show you exactly what to do if you're doing these things anyway, but you're still not progressing. So stick around and let's get into it. So if you can't lose body fat now, then these are the 2 tips that you need to try, all right? And the first thing is we need to realize why you're not making progress. And it comes down to a really simple equation, and that is the calories in and the calories out, okay? This is the science behind fat loss, okay? And this is what is going to elicit your fat loss over time. So you have on the left side, you have your calories in, which is coming from the food that you eat and the drinks that you consume. And then on the other side, you have your calories out. And this is burned, and this is done by a few different things, like the exercise that you do day to day, week on week. Your non-exercise activity, like your NEAT, like it's walking around, fidgeting at your desk, any movement that's not deliberate exercise. And obviously your bodily functions as well, like your digestion of your food and just the energy it takes to keep you alive and keep your heart beating, really, okay? Now, at the end of the day, if you're not making any progress with your fat loss, it's because your calories that are coming in are roughly around the same as your calories coming out, okay? So you are consuming around the same amount of food that your body is burning. And that, bottom line, is why you're not losing body fat anymore. So we need to kind of figure out how to tip this equation in the right direction so that you are, okay? And this is what you can do, right? So like I said, to progress, you either need to increase your output, so increase the calories out, or you need to increase your intake, which is the calories in. And I'm going to explain with the 2 tips right here. So the first tip and the first thing that you want to be looking at is we want to be moving more, all right? The first tip is more movement, all right? So if we can start to include some sort of deliberate movement into your routine, then you are going to expend more calories on a day-to-day basis, and it's going to shift that energy balance and shift the calories out higher so that you lose more weight and you get put into a calorie deficit, okay? So the more that you move your body day to day, the more calories that you're going to burn. Simple as that. And it tips that other end of the scale. It increases your energy output. And here are a few ways that you can do that, okay? So first thing would be setting a daily step goal. Now, walking is so important, it's so key for fat loss that people don't even understand this. You can walk your way to a lean physique. You can walk your way through fat loss if you want. It's super easy to do. It requires low effort. All it requires is time, and it's very recoverable. So if you look at something like running and sprinting on a treadmill, all these HIIT workouts, yeah, you can do it one day, but the next day you're knackered, your body's sore, and you can't do it again. Whereas walking, you can just walk and walk and walk and walk and walk every single day if you wanted to, and you're burning calories through that process. So this is why it's so key. So it's doing something like setting a step goal. You've heard the arbitrary 10,000 steps, but if you can pick something that suits your life, it's a little bit more than you're doing now, then that's what's going to help you expend more calories more day. Doing more movement daily is another thing that can help. And it's little actions that can help with this. Like, you know, instead of, if you live on the 3rd floor of a building, instead of getting the lift up every time, then why don't you walk up the stairs more, up and down the stairs more? Or if you find yourself getting a short bus ride or a short taxi to work or anywhere, or why don't you walk there instead? Because these are things that are gonna indeliberately increase your expenditure and have you moving around more so you can expend more calories without even deliberately thinking, I am on a diet, I am on a program, etc., etc. Another thing is to add some deliberate cardio in there. So what we call, and what I like to call it, is LISS, okay? So it's low intensity, steady state cardio. And basically what this is doing cardio deliberately at a low intensity. Whether you're on the treadmill, you crank the incline up and you're walking on that treadmill, it's going to help you burn more calories. It's going to help you expend more energy, and you're doing cardio, but it's at a low intensity. So pick a pace where it's like a brisk walk. You're getting a bit of a sweat on, your heart rate's rising a bit, but you could still hold a conversation. That kind of intensity as such. Or you could do the elliptical, the Stairmaster, etc., etc., etc. Any form of list, a form of deliberate form of cardio that you're doing every week, and you can set a target for that, whether you do 60 minutes a week or you do 90 minutes a week, something that can fit your life and that you can do. Again, help you increase that energy expenditure on a regular basis. Or you could start to play an active sport or hobby, okay? So I'm not talking about like darts or something like that, where you literally just stand there and you throw a dart. I'm talking about something where you're moving around more. Maybe you want to go on more hikes. Maybe you want to even play golf. Maybe you want to table tennis, rugby, football, something like that. If paddle's so popular these days, if you want to do something like that, something that you actually enjoy as well, that's active, that you can do, dance class, something like that, that's going to help you burn more calories without you even knowing, okay? It's going to help increase the expenditure, which might help you then put yourself in a deficit so you can drop more body fat, okay? Now, tip number 2 is to track your food carefully, right? Now, you might be tracking your food already, but are you tracking your food properly? Okay? A lot of people won't even realize this, but they're not tracking the calories accurately, all right? And this means they're eating more food than you think, all right? A lot of people are not tracking their calories as accurately as they can, and there's a lot of different things that they might be missing out on. And you can literally save hundreds of calories each day by making sure you're not doing these things, or making sure you are tracking these things that some people might miss, which that can be the difference of putting you back into a calorie deficit and helping you continue with your fat loss then over time, all right? So here are some of the things I want you to look out for. And first one will be weighing out all of your food, okay? If you've not got a food scale already, get a food scale. Everything that goes into your mouth, put it on the scale, weigh it, and track it into your app, into your MyFitnessPal app, right? It's super simple. It takes an extra 30 seconds out of your day. Some people find it annoying, and it can be a little bit annoying sometimes, but this is just one of the necessary things to know exactly what's going into your body, all right? The amount of times people will add something on the side and not track it, or I'll just add a few extra pieces of chicken or a few extra potatoes on my dinner without logging it and without tracking it. Or if you're estimating your portion sizes, oh, that's about 300 grams, that's about 200 grams, then this can be way off. This can be so inaccurate. And so it's important that we want to definitely log and track these things as well. The next thing is liquid calories, okay? Now, as well as the food that you eat, the things that you drink contain calories too, all right? So a couple of examples would be like milk and sugar in your coffee, all right? Or when you go to Starbucks, you go to your local coffee shop and you get a flat white oat milk latte, you add a caramel pump sweetener in it, or you're on the Starbucks frappe latte things as well, all right? These things contain calories too. Like these coffees can have up to 200 calories in them, some of them. Some of them can have even more, up to 4. If you're gonna get one of the large ones from a Costa or Starbucks with all the extra cream and sweeteners in. So liquid calories is something we want to make sure we're logging too, okay? Some liquids don't. Water, black coffee are absolutely fine, but just make sure we're logging the liquids that we drink if they are containing calories. Orange juice, your coffees, things like that, your smoothies, your milkshakes, things like that. Log them calories, because you could be missing out on hundreds. If you had 2 lattes a day from Starbucks, that's an extra 400 calories that you might not even know you're tracking. You might not even know that you're eating, right? Next thing will be sauces and condiments. And again, like a tablespoon of mayo can be over 100 calories. I don't know the exact amount off by heart, but it can be a lot of calories. And if you're switching, even the light mayo might be 30 calories per tablespoon or per serving. And most people don't put just one serving on the plate. They'll put about 2 or 3 on there, okay, because they load the plate up with the sauces. So things like condiments, whether it's your ketchup, your mustard, your mayo, things like that, make sure you're tracking and make sure you're logging them, because you're missing out on calories that you are consuming that you don't know you are, all right? Cooking oils and butters too. So if you're cooking your lunch and your dinner, you're cooking your chicken, for example, in the pan, or your eggs in the morning in the pan with a glug of oil, then that oil has calories as well. And you might not be logging them, you might not be tracking them. And 1 tablespoon of olive oil has, I know this one off by heart, has 125 calories, all right? So if you did that twice a day, that's 250 calories that are unaccounted for that you're consuming and you don't even know about it. Okay, these little things added up over time could absolutely be the difference between you losing body fat and you staying stuck in a position where you are now, and you're frustrated as to why you're not making any more progress. Okay, and the one other thing I want to mention, and everyone has done this at some point, you can't deny it, is little mouthfuls of food here and there. So, oh, I'll just have one of them sweets out of the bag. Oh, it's just a little biscuit, it's just a little cookie, I'll have a bit of that. Oh, it's just a square of chocolate, I'm going to have a little bit of that. Again, calories, calories, calories. A couple of them things through the day, all of a sudden you've had 300 extra calories, you're not in a deficit anymore, and you're not losing weight, and you're wondering why. Simple as that. Make sure we track these things. If you're logging these things all of the time, if you're making sure you're looking out for these things, and you're making sure that they're logged and tracked and in your app and in your calorie tracking app, then that is something to really fixate on and really think about doing, okay? Because that could be the difference. Now, one thing that you might think is, well, what if I'm already doing all of these things, all right? And firstly, if you're already doing this, great job. Because these are good, these are solid cues, these are solid tips that can help you in your fat loss journey. And if you're doing these, props to you. But there's still one little tweak that we need to make. And that's because the problem will always remain the same, okay? You are still consuming the same energy as you're burning, all right? If you are not losing any body fat and you're not losing any weight, then you are still consuming the same amount of calories as you're burning. So what do we have to do? The tweak that you have to do is you need to change your program slightly. You need to change your target slightly, okay? And the 2 things that you'd lean for and the 2 things that you'd aim for is, number 1 is to bring your calories down a bit. Spelt recommend wrong there, so silly me. But I recommend, if you find after a couple of weeks or a few weeks and your weight is just not budging, it's not going anywhere, then you need to make a little change to your calories. And that's one thing that you can do. I'd recommend bringing it down by around just 200 to start, and just enough to start eliciting that fat loss again, and get the scale weight coming back down, okay? And then go with that. 200 might be all that it takes. If after a couple of weeks it comes down and it stays the same again, you might need to drop it another 200. But to simply put it, you're probably not in an energy deficit, in a calorie deficit, so you need to bring that food down a touch to make sure that you are, okay? And that's just science. And the second thing, again, going back to the calorie equation at the top that we've been through, we've talked about, is your calories out. And what we do to change your calories out is you can deliberately bring your expenditure up, okay? So if you're doing, as an example, 60 minutes cardio each week, steady state on the treadmill, then bring it up to 90 minutes cardio, steady state on the treadmill. If you're doing 10,000 steps a day, then bring it up to 12,000 steps a day, okay? So we're deliberately increasing the amount of set expenditure that we're doing each week, which is gonna help us burn more calories and help put us in a calorie deficit then over time, okay? So you either have to make a tweak to either your food or your output. If you're doing all the things above already and you're still not losing body fat, then it's not necessarily your fault in terms of it's not anything that you're doing that is wrong. It's just the targets that you set yourself are slightly off and they need to be tweaked to make sure they're working again and you're in line with the science, okay? And they are the things that you have to do. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video and hope you can take the tips that I've been through here and apply them to your own journey to help you finally break through that plateau of fat loss that you might be having right now. And if you want to watch more content like this, then I'm going to leave another video here for you, and it's going to talk about 10 unsexy fat loss tips that you need to be doing if you really want to lose body fat and keep it off for good. Watching these videos does actually mean a lot to me. And if you actually like the content that I'm putting out, then feel free to drop me a subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.